Hello and welcome to the video. So today I will be talking about a game called Shadows of Chroma Tower. It is a PvE extraction full loot dungeon crawler game, similar to the likes of Dark and Darker or Dungeonborn, if you've played any of those. Alright, so getting straight into it, we have the main menu here. We've just launched the game. We've got, some little elements in the back that link to the top menu here. So like the skill tree, we click on this and it will send us into here. As you can see, I have played a little bit. I'm level 8. I've just touched on the warrior and the weaver classes. So I started off with the warrior, and it was a little bit underwhelming because the enemies are a little less susceptible to melee. They are quite difficult to get around with melee. So I swapped off to the weaver class, anyways. So I've got a few little bits and bobs in my stash. These are color fragments, which I used with the forge, which is like a crafting system. You can take gear out of the dungeon and you'll use this dismantle tool. You'll click on it like so, and then it'll give you some fragments. So as you can see, if you hover over it in the bottom right, it'll say like 11 and 1 of the green and blue fragments. And these are obviously just used to craft gear respectively. So you need to level up your Forge Master skill to 20 to unlock the arming sword, the blue, sorry, the rare the rarity of blue rare. And then you've got these color fragments which you can use to downgrade your blue into greens and purples into blues and such. And then we've got the merchants here. We've got the basic weapons, apothecary, blacksmith. This fourth one is locked behind the faction system, which if we go in here, can show you. So we've got these three on either side. That are just basic, defaults to each faction. When the game starts up, it'll give you an option between two factions. As you can see, I picked this one here, and this one has these three things. So you can craft like a portable escape anchor, less merchant prices and crafting costs, and then two crafting recipes for the Forge Master. And the other side has very similar things with the crafting recipes just being a bit different. And then you have these ones here, just a bit irrelevant. They get mixed up pretty quickly. And then these ones are obviously on the other side. And then you've got the middle ones, which are the more unique ones. So as you can see, I obviously picked the wrong faction. All three of these are quite heavily dominated by the other faction. The green is obviously the Fellowship, and then the purple is the other faction. And whoever just has, the more percentage will gain access to these. So you see they're grayed out here, here, and here. This is the Runic Broker, which is tied to the fourth merchant. He just sells like some rune related like mumbo jumbo, like these and these things, which are used if you go over to the Forge Master. You can go to the socketing, and you can put something in here. Oh, I already got something in there, and it will take one of these, and you can click socket, and then you have a socketable thing. You can put something in there like a focus. Now, if you wanted to take it out, I believe you can. Oh no, you might have to just scrap it to take it out. As you see, you get the aperture back. Then this is the reforging. So you see the random modifier. You can reforge it into something else. I believe that also affects the base damage as well. As you see, like 6, that one's like 5, that one's 7. They're all a bit different. And then you have the skill tree. So you've got 4 classes currently. The Invoker is the newest one, so it isn't quite as worked. So you can see it doesn't actually have a skill tree. But the Weaver has 2, the Archer has 2, and the Fighter has 2. These are like exclusive, so if you pick this one, you'll have to, get rid of all of these, which you can do by right-clicking on them to basically refund them. And then you can swap over to this one, and then you can build up this tree. But it's exclusive to one of these trees per. And then obviously, as you can see, I went up this tree on the Weaver, and we have the different difficulties. So they're all PvE right now. and the only real difference is the time limit goes down a little bit as you go on. There's a bit less portals, so ways to escape. The Mitochondria is a battle royale circle basically, and it just goes faster as you go. The enemies do get a bit tougher as well, obviously, and the rewards naturally get better as you go along. That's it. That's about it for the menu. Alright, so here we are in the game. We just spawned in a little, spawn room, yeah. We walk out, we got some basic mobs in front of us. Basic, like, sword skeletons. Just, quickly taking care of these. And, you'll see a little, purple heart, skull, sorry, above the head. That is indicating that I can use my, punch ability to finish them off and gain glory points, extra glory points. These are the special ability of the specific subtree for the fighter. It basically just gives you extra damage the more you have. You can see on the middle sort of bottom left, it'll say like 18 above a little crown icon. That's my current glory points. So there's a little bit of a weird bug that happens here where I use my skill. As you can see, it sort of fizzles out and doesn't do anything. I didn't use the skill up, but I just used it again and it worked out, I guess. A little frustrating though, as I lost some health, but it is still quite early in development, so bugs and issues are to be expected. So I've just went ahead and sped this section up. It's just me clearing the rest of the room, finishing off all the menial mobs, so there's not much to see anyways. Alright, and in front of us here, there is a cursed chest, so I decided to open this, and it spawns a bunch of like little gremlins, goblins, whatever you want to call them. They're very weak, but there's a lot of them, so I stow my weapons to run faster, and I use my jump ability to clear out quite a few of them, because it has, pretty good AoE damage. You see the number in the top? I'll circle that. It's slowly counting down as they're dying, so I need to just defeat all, 70-something that spawned to get the rewards of the cursed chest. And I'll just speed this portion up. Alright, and that is all of the enemies killed, so I go down to the cursed chest to claim my reward, open it up, and it is fairly, somewhat disappointing, to be honest. The rewards aren't really all that great, and it took quite a while, decent bit of my resources, and it's not very much. There's a cape, some mediocre gear. As you can see, it's like, it's red because I can't use it. It's not for my class. So I just keep that to later break down with the reforging feature that's in the main menu.
1 hour later.
Alright, so as you probably just saw, I have decided the warrior class was not for me, as I kept dying. Bear in mind, I was playing in the third highest difficulty, with very minimal gear. So if I was better equipped, it might have been less of an issue perhaps, but that was just how I play usually. More of like a zero to hero, play style, where I'll go in with very minimal gear, and then try and just loot my way up into a full set of gear. But usually it can be quite tricky to find a full set of gear for your class in these kind of, dungeon crawler extraction games, follow games. Alright, so I've split this segment up, as you can see. I'm just clearing the room. It's the same room as the first one where I was playing as Warrior with the cursed chest. This time I decided not to open the cursed chest because there were a lot of enemies. I was still getting used to the class, and because this was level 1 or level 2, I didn't have the necessary perks to regain my mana properly, so I was running out of mana and not able to use my Fireball Staff. So you see I've used it already a couple times, and my mana comes up very slowly. This is because the class is quite finicky right now. In lower gear it is quite unbalanced. It doesn't really do a whole lot. The Spark Staff that I'm using doesn't cost any mana, or technically it does, it costs a very small amount. And you do have very slow passive mana regeneration, but it's too slow to be actively using a fireball constantly. As you saw, I stood next to the brazier, sort of interacting with it for a second. This is because I didn't realize that you have to actually get the Flame Eater perk through the skill tree. It's not by default. It used to be by default in the previous playtests, but I hadn't played the Weaver class. This was my first time trying it, so I was unsure. Alright, so I've put it back to regular speed just to show you the last sort of like part of this run. So this area here, it has a cursed chest, and when you open it, these two statues, as you can see the bodies, will spawn in and start to fight you. The entire arena becomes like enclosed, so you can't escape until you either die or kill them. As you saw when I opened it, the loot is protected because this is a PvE game, so that other player, we are unable to damage and fight each other, and because they had the majority of the damage on the boss, they get to keep the loot for 60 to 90 seconds, somewhere around there. So obviously they didn't want any of that, they were just looting the big curse chest in the middle. So I was just taking care of some of these outer mobs and basically just waiting to see if they left anything in the curse chest. I got a little ring off the eye there, and they've moved off, so I go to check it. And they left like some very mediocre, not so good gear. I grabbed some gloves, I looked at the staff. I decided ultimately not to take it because it does seem a bit iffy. Not really quite my playstyle. I just finished clearing some more mobs, well, trying to. As you can see here, the wand has quite a short range, so I couldn't actually hit that little fire spirit there. And then as I'm clearing off the skeleton, a random skeleton crossbow bolt hits me in the head, I guess, and I die. Very unfortunate, but that's just how the game goes, I guess. Alright, so to end off the video, I'm just going to give a quick little summary on my thoughts of the state of the game. So currently it is still in its early alphas, so, you know, obviously don't expect too much, it's not even in a beta yet. But that being said, it does have some meat on its bones. It's got a fair amount of enemies. I believe they added 9 new enemies, 5 of which were mimics, though. But overall, I had a decent time playing the game. I put in about 6 hours, so not too long, not too short, but I don't think all of those were playing, you know, a good maybe half an hour to an hour maybe. We're probably spent figuring things out in the loading screen and whatnot. So I did somewhat enjoy it. However, it was a bit torturous trying to level up the classes as they are quite weak early game. And I think that is somewhat fine, but it can be quite frustrating if you're trying to draw players in and they don't really know what they're doing, and they kind of just end up continuously dying and not really having too much of a fun time. It is a bit iffy on that aspect, but overall, if you've got, you know, some free time and you like games like Dark and Darker, you might want to give it a shot. It's a little bit iffy with the color scheme. A lot of people don't like that, but it's, you know, it's down to you. All right, so that's the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. And if you enjoy the content and want to see, you know, similar videos of playtests and early games and whatnot and all that kind of stuff, please subscribe to my channel. It would greatly help me, and I will continue to produce content for you. Thank you very much. Have a great day.